All right, welcome on in again to another episode of the Puck Drop podcast. And we're getting closer every day to the start of training camp. And today we have a really special guest joining us from her home near Montreal. This is, of course, Jade Downie-Landry and we get to say the New York Sirens. Welcome to the podcast, Jade.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We're happy to see you. And I was just telling you before we went live that you are a fan favorite because of just so many reasons. Fun to watch and a great offensive player and a Canadian who's made that transition to one of the 6 original teams. Maybe we could start off there with kind of telling us where you are, which is where you're from, and what it was like to go from being in that home base area where you played all your life, most of your life, down to the US and to the New York area.
Yeah, of course. So, like you mentioned, I've actually never left home before in the past. I grew up on the South Shore of Montreal. I went to CEGEP in Montreal. I went to university in Montreal. So this was the first time I was leaving home as a 28-year-old. So it was, a little scary. I'm not going to lie. It's something that I hadn't done. So I was a little apprehensive about it, but we were located practicing in Connecticut last year, and I was living with 2 other Quebecers, so it was kind of like home away from home in that sense. We rented a beautiful house. It was on the beach. I ended up loving Connecticut. It was such a nice area. So many fun things to do outside of hockey as well. It's so important to keep your mind busy, and kind of refresh your mind as well, because you could get so caught up in the game sometimes. So yeah, I actually ended up loving Connecticut. I'm super glad I ended up signing a 2-year contract because I loved playing for New York my first season in the PWHL.
Good. Who were your roommates, if you don't mind sharing that?
I was with one name might be familiar, Alexandra Labelle.
Mhm.
She played for l'Université des Carabins, so I've actually played against her my whole life, and we've been teammates like a few times, but never for like a full season. It was like AAA hockey or stuff like that. So it was actually really nice being on the same team as her for once.
Nice. That's nice. And yeah, you're signed for 2 years. So with the team moving basically to New Jersey, or I don't know if your practice facility stays the same. There's some moving parts, I'm guessing, but how's that going to affect you?
Um, to me, it's just kind of another adventure. I won't be living with Alex anymore because she'll be going to Montreal this year. But we have another Quebecer coming into training camp, Emmy Fecteau.
Oh, yeah, from
Yeah.
Quebec.
So again, it's kind of, makes me feel like I'm a little bit at home. Pascal being a Quebecer too, it's nice. But yeah, it's just kind of another adventure. I don't think it'll change that much. The group of girls that we're with is the same. And I think that's the core of everything is who you're surrounded with. And we have a lot of good people on the team, and they make it feel like home for those that aren't from New York. And we're mostly not from New York. So I guess we kind of make each other feel like home, all of us together.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do remember seeing an interview with you. I don't know if it was at that very first game. I almost think it was because it was in Toronto. Well, I don't know, my memory might be failing me, but I do remember you saying that you felt like the team was kind of a collection of people from so many different places and almost nobody, if not nobody, from that tri-state area. So basically, you were all kind of a little band of, home away from home, and that made the group really special. Was that something that continued all year?
Yeah, I think Abby, our goalie, was the only New Yorker on the team. So yeah, I think we were kind of all on the same bandwagon. We knew, what it felt like to be away from home. Sometimes could be difficult, lonely. But honestly, the group of girls that we have, I can't say it enough. I always say it, but they're wonderful and really good people. And I think that just really enhanced my experience my first year.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. So let's touch on it. We're all so excited that other hockey has started up, and then I think it's making PWHL fans just, so anxious for. Are you finding it that way? If any other league that you might have played in the past probably would have been starting up by now. Do you, I'm sure you're training, but what are you finding, the break like at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a typical hockey break, but at the same time, it kind of, allows you to, work on your off-ice training a little more, work on some fine detail that you maybe wouldn't necessarily get to do on a shorter break. So I kind of just see it in a more positive light. Of course, I think we're all super excited to start the season, don't get me wrong, to see what our jerseys look like, to know our schedule, because we also don't know any of that right now either, but obviously we're super excited to get to see everything and how everything turns out. But right now I'm just, you know, I'm at home, I'm working out, getting on the ice. So I'm doing everything that I need to do to be ready for the upcoming season. And that's really all I'm focusing on right now.
Sounds good. And training camps will be starting. It's a little less than a month. I think the 12th is the official date back on the ice. And then the mini camp, or the 3-and-3, that's going to be exciting. And where will you be for that one? In Are you in Toronto with that group?
Yeah, New York is going to be in Toronto.
New York, Minnesota, and Toronto, and then in Montreal will be Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston, right? So I will be there. So maybe I'll see you there. That'll be nice. And let's talk a little bit. I mean, the name, we have to get your impression of the name and logo. It was probably the biggest news over the summer. And what were your thoughts when that came out?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought our logo like kind of looked like a little vintagey. I like the New York in the background, kind of like around the sirens. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved our colors. Teal is one of my favorites, so I'm glad that we're still with the teal and the little touch of orange. I think the jerseys and all of our merch is gonna look great.
Yeah. I think the Sirens, I really like that name choice. I love the way that the league kind of teased it, and a lot of people had guesses. And, it goes the teal. I don't think that was going to go anywhere. Ties in nicely with, the Liberty, who are in the finals right now, and the other teams. So, yeah, I think it's one of the better ones for sure. And just can't wait for the jerseys to come out. So moving to Connecticut, and the new logo and team name, and then of course the new players. Let's chat about that for a second. You mentioned Emily Fecteau, who is Quebecer as well, and so I'm sure you'll be fast friends. Had you known her before, or is she young enough that you missed her during, coming up and playing in the
No,
area?
no, I played against her in university because I did 6 years at McGill because of COVID. So I think I ended up playing 2 or 3 years against her.
Good. So you'll be friendly. And I noticed, just making sure I had a little bit of research done, so I knew everything. You played as well, and is it Living Sisu, the kind of drop-in league where a lot of players skated this summer, and you were on a scoring tear, is what I read. What happened with that skating? That I think that was pretty early on in the summer.
Yeah, so it's basically just like a 3-on-3 on a little ice surface. It's a fundraiser for pancreatic cancer. And so, yeah, a lot of girls come out and skate. We have university players, we have some pro players. We even had a few girls from CJEP actually come out and play. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get everyone on the ice. It's a friendly little competition to support a great cause. We obviously don't do it for the competition. We just do it to support. And yeah, it's a great time. It's not very long. It's like 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I'm not sure, one of the two. But yeah, we just have fun. There's a semifinal, there's a final, so that keeps the competitive aspect in it a little bit more. Sometimes we have players that might not live in Montreal but come to visit for a week or two, who come on the ice and join a team who are missing a player. So it's just a nice time for a great cause.
Yeah, I watched un petit peu of those games that were on YouTube. I think you can still look them up. As far as I know, they are archived. I'll try to put a link to that. And definitely some of the Montreal and Quebec based PWHL players were skating there, so it was just a cool thing to kind of keep your hockey rhythm going. And yeah, so the new players, of course, we have to ask about the number one overall draft pick, Sarah Fillier. Very excited to get her on the team, and what do you know about her?
Yeah, of course. I don't know her personally. I've seen her play um, quite often with the Olympic team, and I mean, it's needless to say that she's an amazing hockey player. I've heard great things about her, and I think she could have a really big impact on our team. She's offensive, she's able to create, but she's also responsible on the back end. I think she's going to fit in super well. She seems like a great person, and like I said, I heard great things about her, so I think it's going to be a perfect fit for her.
Yeah, maybe you'll get to play on a line with her and see what that's like. We'll see how the lines shake out. New coach as well. What else? I mean, am I forgetting any of the new news? New coach, new draft picks. We'll touch on a couple more of those because I actually have gotten to speak to a couple of those players. Uh, and the other thing I'll ask you in a minute, but any other like news around the team that I'm forgetting or that you want to leak?
I don't know anything more than you would, but new coach, yeah, new name,
Margot, yeah,
colors.
yeah, a little bit of new color. There's a couple of the teams. I think if they added a color, it was mostly gold. They added that, but at least two of the teams. So okay, let's ask about what you did over the summer, where you spent the summer and your training, and then we want to ask you about your wedding, which happened over the summer, which we're so happy. Congratulations! But can you kind of start with back as you said you skated in the Sisu league, and from there, like how else did you take some? Oh, I don't know. You went somewhere special, I believe, for your honeymoon. But why don't you tell us?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't go anywhere for my honeymoon because my wife's a teacher, so she had just started back to teaching, and we travel quite a bit, the two of us together and individually.
Okay.
After the season, basically, I took 3 weeks off. I traveled. I went to Spain.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
yes.
That's probably what you saw. Yeah, so went to Barcelona, went to the little islands, enjoyed my time there. And then I came back, and that's when Living Sisu started. It was literally a few days later. So yeah, we got on the ice there on Mondays, and then we had ice in Verdun at the center. So that was 3 times a week, and then just regular off ice training. So yeah, it's just been a summer full of typical stuff I usually do. And I'm also a teacher. So before the school year just started, so before I go back to New York, I actually teach. I sub when I can.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's been the gist of it. I've just been taking time to myself, hanging out with my family, my friends, and doing some hockey stuff.
Good. That's all great. And so the wedding, it seemed like I mean, we know there was at least one other pretty major wedding in the league, and probably some others if folks check out social media, hockey players. There are a lot of summer hockey weddings in all leagues. But how excited are you now to be married with your partner for this long, and now making it official? And what was that day like? I mean, just in general, all congratulations. That's
Thank you.
really nice to see. But anything you want to share with us about that?
Well, it feels great. I mean, it was a lot of preparation. It was a long year of prepping. I will not take full credit because my wife did mostly everything. But yeah, it feels good to, make it official. It was a lovely day. I remember 2 weeks prior, It was raining, and then on a Saturday, and then the next Saturday was raining again. I was like, oh no. Turned out we had lovely weather. It was 32 degrees. Yeah, super sunny. And honestly, like big social events gives me a little bit of anxiety, especially when like all the attention is on me. So I was expecting to be a little anxious, a little shy, nervous. The day of, we had our bridesmaids come over. We had coffee, hair, and makeup. And honestly, I didn't feel any of those feelings. It was honestly, obviously everyone says it, but the best day of my life. Just to have everyone that we love in the same room, celebrating with us. It was something special. I wish the night never ended. It went by so quickly. It was the lady organizing the wedding was kind of like, okay, it's time, like it's done. And I was like, what? Like it was like a blink of an eye, a blink of your eyes, and it was done. But it was beautiful. It was a really lovely day.
That's amazing. That's so nice to hear. And I mean, you do have $1 million smile, Jade. I'm sure you've been told that. Like, it's very infectious, and you can see when, when you are truly, it comes from the inside. And I'm guessing you might have, thinking about it, you might have been thinking, I'd rather play in like game 7 type hockey game than like do something like that where you're, as you said, kind of the center of attention. You're used to being more of a team player. I know what that feeling is like. But
It's funny that you say that, because I actually said that to someone. I thought that I was going to be super nervous, but turns out like my nerves are like even more heightened like before a regular hockey game, like forget game 7. But I don't know, there was something about that day. I was like, oh, it's everyone that I'm comfortable with, right? So why, like there was no reason for me to feel like that. And it's not like a thought that I had, it's just something that kind of happened.
I could just ask you about, starting the season in the PWHL, flashing way back to game 1, or just any other moments like that where, I mean, I'm sure game 1, everybody was just quite overwhelmed with the day and the meaning of it. So a different kind of nerves or anticipation. But, did you have that all season where you took in the magnitude of what you were doing and the history you were making?
Yes. Of course, game 1 was, I remember it was in Toronto, and after the game, we had won that game. But I remember thinking like, you didn't even know, like the fans that were in Toronto for Toronto, it felt like they were there for something greater than just that. It was, to support the league. It was like, it was this big thing. It was like, yes, of course, go Toronto, but they were also like rooting for PWHL. And I think everyone on the ice felt that. And that feeling kind of was the same throughout the year for me. I felt like the fans were, of course, rooting for their teams, but they were rooting for our league. And that's something that never really went away. Even, whether it was game 1 or game 24, you felt that people were there to support everything that the league was encompassing.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was like that. So I'll ask a little bit more about the team, if that's okay. We have talked to 2 of the draft picks, El Harchi, we talked to recently, and before the draft, we spoke with Nora Toulouse, who was over in, I think she was in Finland at the time, and she was the leading scorer of the SDHL, and so she's a favorite here on the show, and so she'll be joining you. And any other thoughts about any of the draft picks or those players, especially maybe the forward ranks and the improvements that it really looks like the team, GM Pascal Daoud made a trade to get an extra draft pick. I think he kind of snapped up Emily Fecteau right out from under Montreal, perhaps to keep that connection there. So how's that feel with those new incoming players joining the roster?
Yeah, I think they're all going to be really good additions. Unfortunately, I don't know them much. I've heard great things about them, and as you said, Nora from Finland, I've seen play on television. So it's easy for me to say that she's going to be great fit on the team. She's very skilled. She's a great player. But I agree. I think the draft was everything that we needed. We kind of, went and got what we needed, and I think everything together is it's gonna work out nicely.
Oops. Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, when I did the grades, I believe I gave New York an A or an A plus because, the little bit of wheeling and dealing that just gave it a little extra spice and got another player. And then we just had the training camp rosters released. So we know who's at least going to be trying out. And it looks like your goaltending trio will be really good again. Is there anything just, with the move to the Prudential Center and all of these new changes, new coach, what's just your overall impression of what this season? We don't even know the start date. We're kind of guessing, let's say December 1st. Right in that area, I think is what most people are eyeing. But what are you looking forward to with the team? Either continuing or then mixing up, getting some new blood and new players. What's your prediction for the team, or what's your feeling?
I am very excited to continue this journey with the New York Sirens because realistically, I don't think any of us were quite thrilled with the outcome of last year. So I think, and I also really think that the girls that are on the team are able to take responsibility. All of us, it's so easy to point fingers, but at the end of the day, we kind of have to look at ourselves and at what we could do better. And I think that everyone on that and on our team is capable of doing that. And I think we kind of, took this 6-month break as an opportunity to get better. So I have no doubt that going into the season, we're going to be better, especially with the upcoming draftees coming in. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited to get started.
It just can't come soon enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. It seemed like time slowed down, then it sped up a little around the jerseys and all the excitement, and now it's just starting to drag a little bit. So when are you actually going down there? Like, do you have kind of your dates ready? I imagine you'll wait till closer to the beginning of November. Do you have those plans set?
They're not necessarily set. I'm thinking about November 10th. I do have to move all my stuff, so I need at least a good day to set everything up into our new place.
Always.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah, I do. I actually do love it. I love decorating. I love getting settled into somewhere new. So yeah, I'm thinking November 10th, maybe a little earlier, a little later. No, not later. I can't do later. Maybe a little earlier.
I will note, in case folks haven't, checked or remembered, Jade's hat trick against Boston. Sorry, Boston fans. I know we have a couple of them. And then you almost had a hat trick again. You had 3 points against Boston. What was it about playing? I'm sure you've been asked that and you'll say there's nothing. Was there anything at all against different teams? Did you get supercharged to play in Montreal, or were you looking at Boston going, hey, I don't know what it is, but maybe some more points for me?
No,
No.
I have been asked that before, and people I had actually asked me that before that second game against Boston, and I was like, oh no, like I don't know, I just good luck on the first time, and then I ended up having a really good game that game as well. But sometimes things just click. Both games I was playing with two different people, but both times I like the chemistry was there. Things were working out for us. So it's really nothing that has to do with me. I guess it's just kind of the things that happen on the ice with the people around me. Things were clicking and the puck just went behind the net.
That's awesome. So you didn't get superstitious and get out the same stick. And do you have those, like left skate first or any of those superstitions?
I do, but it's not something I hold on to like very seriously. Like I do
Oh, I
trust
picked
my
the wrong Yeah, I put the wrong skater
No,
on.
no.
Terrible game. You don't go that way.
Yeah,
Just
no.
kind of
Like I will dress my left side first, but like if I accidentally put my right skate on first, I'm still gonna tie it up.
nope, take it off, start over. Down to the basics and start off. That's funny. And I know that you're going to be a leader on the team, along with, Alex Carpenter, Abby Rock, and of course, Micah, Sandy Hart. But we're really excited to see you leading the charge again. And I know there's going to be a siren spinning and blaring at the games. I'm looking forward to how they're going to figure that out. Well, we will let you go. This was just a quick drop-in visit to, kind of check what you're up to, and I appreciate all the news that you're giving us. Can't wait. But thank you so much for the time today, Jade, and we will look forward to seeing you in New Jersey with the New York Sirens, and just good luck with the continued training and the trip and the move. And thank you for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.